Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Menken here with Splash Sports. Today is May 28th, 2024. A little recap on yesterday. Had another winning day. Ended up going 2-1, where the Houston Astros and the Seattle Mariners absolutely let us down. The Houston Astros gave up 3 runs in the bottom of the first inning. Guy on first and third with 1 out. Couldn't get the job done. The Seattle Mariners ended up scoring 3 runs in that bottom of the first and ended the game 3-2. Seattle Mariners in that game. Tough one to swallow, but still went 2-1. Had a winning day on this show yet again, ladies and gentlemen. All I ask you to do is smash that like button for me and subscribe to my YouTube channel and toggle on that notification. That way, every time I drop another video, you guys will be notified. All right, let's take a look at Tuesday's games. Starting off with game number 1, we got the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Detroit Tigers here. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, Jared Jones will be on the mound. He's 3-4 currently this season with 59 innings of work. He does have an ERA of 3.05 here with 68 strikeouts. Clearly averaging here a strikeout per inning, and has only allowed 20 earned runs on the season. He'll be matched up here in Detroit against the Rays' Tarek Skubal, who's 6-1 with 60 innings of work. He does have an ERA of 2.25 here with 72 strikeouts, clearly putting batters away and averaging a strikeout here per inning as well, and has allowed only 15 earned runs on the season. Tarek is coming off his first loss of this season against the Kansas City Royals team, going 5 innings of work, 5 hits, and 4 earned runs. I know Tarek Skubal is going to have a bounce-back game and then be ready from inning number 1. And then you look at Jones. Jones hasn't got a win or a loss in his last 2 outings here, and he has not given up a run in the first inning in those 2 starts that have decided a no win or loss for Jones. I know he's competing here early on. I like where Jared Jones is for this Pittsburgh Pirates team. I like where Tarek Skubal is in this matchup. I think it's going to be more so a rubber match between these two. Clearly, both of these starting pitchers put batters away. That's why in game number 1 between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Detroit Tigers, we're smacking the NRFI, no runs, first inning. So we're on to our second game between the Kansas City Royals and the Minnesota Twins here. For the Kansas City Royals, we got Cole Reagans on the mound, who's 4-3 this season, 62 innings of work. He does have an ERA of 3.34 here with 75 strikeouts on this season and 23 earned runs for Reagan. He'll be matched up in Minnesota against Wood Richardson here. He's 1-0. He has 35 innings of work, an ERA of 2.57 here with 26 strikeouts and 10 earned runs. You look at Richardson, he hasn't picked up a win in his last 6 outings, but he's looked sharp in the month of May. Granted, his last 2 starts were on the road, and he hasn't pitched back at home since May 6th, where he went 6 innings of work, 1 hit, and no earned runs against the Seattle Mariners. This is a spot with a Kansas City Royals lineup. That's a powerful lineup. So we'll see what Richardson can do, and this is a very good test at home for himself, where he hasn't pitched since May 6th. He'll be locked in with Cole Reagan here, coming off a win in his last outing, going 6 innings of work, 1 hit, and no earned runs against the Detroit Tigers in that one. You look at what happened in yesterday's game, the Minnesota Twins absolutely jumped out on the Kansas City Royals there, and then they tried to make a comeback, this Kansas City Royals team, late in the top of the 9th, scoring 4 runs. Bobby Witt Jr., 1 out, guy on second base, could not get the job done. So this is going to be definitely a fun series to watch, and I think it's going to be a little more of a rubber match in this one early on in the game. That's why in game number 2 between the Kansas City Royals and the Minnesota Twins, we're also smacking the NRFI, no runs, first inning. Let's go back to Seattle, where the Houston Astros take on the Seattle Mariners for game 3. Hunter Brown will be on the mound. He's 1-5 with 43.1 innings of work, an ERA of 7.06 here, 44 strikeouts, and has allowed 34 earned runs this season. He'll be matched up against the Seattle Mariners' Luis Castillo here. He's 4-6 with 65.1 innings of work. He does have an ERA of 3.31 with 69 strikeouts, clearly averaging a strikeout here per inning, and has allowed 24 earned runs on the season. Luis Castillo picked up a loss in his last outing against the Yankees, going 5 innings of work, 7 hits, and 2 earned runs there. I know Luis is going to have a bounce-back game, and then Hunter Brown starting to improve. He did have a loss in his last start against the Angels, but he went 6 innings of work, 2 hits, and 2 earned runs, but he pitched 4 shutout innings to start that game off. And Seattle jumped out ahead yesterday 3-0 in the first inning and ended up winning that game 3-2 final. This game is both sides of the offense, hopefully, will pick up right where they left off, I should say. You got both of these lineups somewhat struggling to produce runs, but this Houston Astros team, you got to watch out for them because they could start that long ball anytime. We're playing here in Seattle where it is a pitcher's ballpark. I like Luis Castillo on the mound. We'll see what Hunter Brown could do against the Seattle Mariners, but the Seattle Mariners, remember, put up a 3-spot in that bottom of the first yesterday. So that's why in game number 3 between the Houston Astros and the Seattle Mariners, I'm smacking the NRFI. No runs first inning. Let's take a recap of Tuesday's games that I've selected for Nicky's NRFIs. Game number 1 between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Detroit Tigers, we're smacking the NRFI. Game number 2 between the Kansas City Royals and the Minnesota Twins, we're smacking the NRFI. And our third and final game between the Houston Astros and the Seattle Mariners, we're smacking the NRFI. No runs.